we are live in 5, 4, 3.
Hey, and welcome to Baking with Chickens. I'm Christina, your host, and this is the show where I bake using eggs from my backyard chickens, who also moonlight as squirrel chasers. That is Snozzberry chasing off a little squirrel who was just trying to get a little drink of water. So chickens are fierce, fierce, fierce little creatures, and they take no guff. And then that's Dude, who's just tardy to the party because he lets the ladies do the work. Typical. All right, today I am making a pineapple meringue tart. All right, I am making a pineapple meringue tart today. Nerdy pineapple facts. So, did you know that pineapples are actually a fruit? So each of these individual scales that you see here are actually the flowers. And all of the flowers put together growing on the inside are what makes a pineapple fruit. Cool, huh? And then they're called pineapples because when, I think it was European settlers first saw them, they're like, oh, that fruit kind of looks like a pine cone. So I'm gonna call it a pineapple. So you can also regrow pineapples. You just cut the tops off and then you let it dry a little bit and you can plant it in the ground and it'll regrow a whole entire pineapple fruit or pineapple plant. And in the wild, pineapples can grow fruit for up to like 50 years. Isn't that freaking cool? So they're also really sweet. They're delicious. They make wonderful hats. Hats? No? Okay. But that is all about pineapples. But pineapples also contain an enzyme that do have a problem with baking, which I will get into in a little bit. So stick around. I'm going to tell you all about pineapples. I'm making this pineapple meringue tart, which uses pineapple curd. I'm going to make that. I'm going to show you how to make those rainbow meringue drops. And if you are following along in this recipe, please find it in the description below. This is a live show, so anything can happen. If you can see us, hear us, whatever's going on, drop a comment in the live chat because this is way more fun when you join in and participate and ask questions. Thank you for your patience for the technical difficulties. Again, live show, things happen if you're just joining us. Whew, boy. All right, so let's get started with this recipe. You ready? Good. All right. Mr. Baking with Chickens is having a very rough morning here because we decided to turn this into a live show. So more stress, more fun. All right. So the important part here for the recipe is for any tart, we're going to start with a crust. So I'm making a basic shortbread crust. This is the easiest tart crust you could ever make. You could just buy a pre-made one, but honestly, this is so easy. You should just do it. So what goes into it is I've got 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of powdered sugar, and then we've got some salt, 1 teaspoon of salt, tablespoon, I forget. Sorry, I can't remember the ingredients because we've redone the beginning so many times. We've also got a half teaspoon of chopped rosemary. So rosemary and pineapple flavors actually go really well together. They complement and pair together and bring out the flavor. So that's why I'm adding rosemary into my crust. And then in here, we're gonna add some melted butter. So I have also steeped vanilla bean pods in this melted butter and scraped out the seeds. So it has those little black vanilla bean pod specks. And vanilla also goes really well with pineapple and rosemary. So the tart crust is going to be a vanilla bean and rosemary crust. And you just pour the butter into this entire mixture and then we're going to stir it all together. And I like to use a fork because I'm going to use a fork later anyways, so I might as well just do it now. Scrape out all that butter. There we go. And if you're going to infuse this dish, so I am making this pineapple tart for the Elevate Jane Cannabis Cook-Off competition. And if I were to infuse this with cannabis, I would use canna butter here instead of just plain regular unsalted butter. And if you want to know how to do that, this is a little preview of baked with chickens. So on 4/20, which is next week, we're going to launch Baked with Chickens, which is going to be a later night baking show where I'm going to talk all about baking with cannabis and how to make your own edibles. So stay tuned. There will be no live episode next Sunday, but we will do a special 4/20 launch on Tuesday. So if you're into cooking with culinary cannabis, you want to learn more about it, check out that show. It's going to be at the same YouTube channel, same thing. So it's just going to be another one of these videos. All right. So for the crust, you basically just stir it all around until it's nice and mixed up. And that is it. Now, I have my little tart pan here. And I'm going to take this dough and press it into my tart pan. So I have a rectangular tart pan. You could use a round tart pan, like a 9-inch round, 11-inch round, whatever works. You just need to make sure there's enough crust. I did make this crust recipe so that there is enough for an 11-inch round if you need it. So if you have extras, just make a little extra, no big deal. All right, so I'm gonna press this into the tart pan. Now, the trick with pressing your dough into a tart pan is start with the sides first because it's much easier to judge the thickness once you've done the sides first. So I'm gonna start pressing this in. And it's kind of got like the texture of Play-Doh. So I put in melted butter, but it wasn't hot. It already kind of cooled off a little bit, but it was still melted. If you use like hot, warm butter, it'll feel warm and it'll be okay, but it'll just kind of be mushy. So I'm just gonna grab a chunk and just start placing it in like this. So I just take some and press it in. That's all. Oh, by the way, if you're just joining us, I am making a pineapple meringue tart today. This is a live show. All sorts of things can happen, but drop a line. Say hi in the comments. Let me know that you're here. If I don't know your name, which is totally possible because you're here from Instagram, tell me your Instagram handle so that I can say hi and what up. So thanks for joining me today on this very beautiful Sunday. But yeah, so there you go. So you see, like, I just pushed it here on the side, and you just kind of keep doing this all the way around, and then we're going to press it into the bottom. And there's really no right or wrong here. It's like, you know, thinner is better, but you don't want it so thin that it's not structurally sound. You want it to be strong enough that it can hold up and you can remove it without it falling apart. So most tart pans, if you're buying a tart pan, get one with a removable bottom. So this one is from Wilton. Wilton has really great ones. I dropped a link down in the description below that you can buy on Amazon if you don't have any tart pans. Again, rectangular, round, any size works. You could totally make this as a pie too if you don't have a tart pan. You would just press the cookie, like the shortbread cookie dough, into your pie pan. It might be harder to lift out, so you would just cut it and eat it just like a pie. But that would totally work.
You know what I think it's time for?
Catch up on comments and see who's here?
Well, yeah, we can do that. But I kind of think it's time for a little bit of the special.
Oh, Dustin's got a special camera. So
yeah, let's
Dustin and his gear. So that is, yeah.
Oh,
look at that.
Well, that looks weird.
What happened? Hey, it's just a mood, you guys. It's like we need we need a boom chicka wow wow music for the food porn. All right, well, Casey solves that. Maybe Mr. Baking with Chickens can check in on comments and see who's here and say hi.
Yeah, let's see. Oh my gosh, we've got Clumsy Cakes.
Hi, Clumsy Cakes.
We've got, is it Aunt Andrea or Andrea? Vickery.
Hi, Andrea.
Chelsea.
Hi, Chelsea.
We've got Dan.
Hello, Dan. Thank you for being here every single week.
Anybody else who comes on, chime in. Let us know you're here. We'd love to say hello.
Yeah, and hey, if you got any questions at any point and any time, please let us know. And this will be replay. Like you can watch this again on our YouTube channel after the live. So if you're not here live, you can watch it again. And then if you want a shorter version with just the recipe and less of the yik yak and the nonsense and the technical difficulties, we'll edit that all out and do a shorter version afterwards. So I am making this again for the Elevated 8 competition because I need to smoke the competition, who is Jenna from Terpene Table. So I am pretty psyched about this. I'm very excited because you are watching me make the dish for the competition right now. So this is what I'm going to submit. That's going to be on Wednesday. And oh, thank you, by the way, everybody, for your votes and helping me beat out everybody for the appetizer and entree round with my pasta and Bloody Mary appetizer. And I hope that this dessert is gonna win. And a lot of people have asked me like, hey, what's the prize? I don't even know. I don't care, you guys. Hey, Mr. Bacon with Chicken's butt is in the shot. Hey, nice butt, Mr. Bacon with Chickens. Oh man, you guys, such a thing. All right, so this is a bit tedious while I'm kind of like pressing all of these things in, but like it just takes a second. Like you can't really rush this. I mean, I'm gonna try to do it as fast as I possibly can, but to get it really nice, you wanna like press it in and make sure you don't have any air bubbles or pockets because otherwise it's gonna bake in like that. So the dough very much has a Play-Doh type consistency. It's very soft, it's very malleable. I just kind of press it in and that is it. Like it's just like little crumbly chunks. So I'm just grabbing it and shoving it in. Hey, that's what she said. That's a bad joke. I feel like that's a bad joke that's aging and just doesn't work well anymore. Oh man. All right. Okay, so now I've got all the sides pressed in, right? So now I'm gonna press it into the bottom. And it's kind of the same thing. Just grab a bunch of dough, stuff it on the bottom, and just keep pressing until it feels good and is the right thickness. So you don't want it to be too thick because if it's too thick, then you're not gonna have room for your filling. It's gonna not taste balanced. So thinner is better, but not too thin. And when you do the sides first and the bottom last, you get a better idea of how much you're placing. And then like, I also like to use my finger, like once I press it all in, I use my fingers to smooth it all. So while I continue doing this, we are not going to be going up for a chicken coop tour today, but we do have a little segment with Mr. Dude that we want to show you. So say hi to Dude while I finish pressing in all of this dough. Hey, what's up guys? I'm up at the chicken coop and I just wanted to introduce you guys to Dude because he doesn't always get to be seen in all of our episodes because he has to be separated. So Dude is a Polish rooster. We adopted him around Christmas time from the LA shelters. Look at this guy. There's so many rescue roosters that need homes that are in the shelter, so we figured if we can give him a home, why not? And we saw him and he was so cute, we couldn't resist. Oh, he wanted me to tell you that when we got him from the shelter, he was covered in lice. He was on the brink of death. He had respiratory issues. He was skinny and emaciated. You can hear him, he sounds really gurgly. And that's really bad for a chicken because that means they have a respiratory illness. There you go. There you go. And we saved his life. Isn't that right? Yeah. So keeping a rooster is so different than keeping hens. His behavior is just so different. Like he's programmed to protect the hens. That's his #1 job. So he looks at us and people are really misunderstand roosters because they think, oh, like they're attacking me. And yes, but he's doing his job. He's doing his job by protecting the hens and taking care of things. So it's just really understanding them. And when he's not around his hens, he's very cuddly and very sweet, as you can see, whenever I can catch him. He's a Polish. So Polish is a breed of rooster that is known for this crest. So he's got this puffy feather hair situation thing going on that I like to play with. He likes it, but we're actually, no, he kind of does. So he actually does like it because he falls asleep whenever I pet him. So he's very cuddly and very sweet. And if you're interested in adopting a rooster, actually, like, roosters can make really great house pets. So a lot of the laws say you can't keep roosters outside because of the noise for neighbors, but you could keep them inside. And then roosters generally won't attack you if they don't have any hens to protect. There's nice roosts, there's different kinds, and there's plenty of resources out there. So highly recommend it. When we first got chickens, I was very adamant and anti-rooster, and I was like, no, we're never getting a rooster. They're gonna be too loud. We're not gonna get them. And over time, I've really just changed my mind. You know, I just started thinking about the idea of one, and you know, they have a job. They protect the hens, which is something that's really nice, so we don't have to worry about hawks or creatures that come and could potentially hurt the hens. So see this little nub growing on his foot? So that's called the spur. His spur is still growing. When he gets older, it'll be like a big sharp talon. They use that to fight off anything that might hurt their hens. They'll put their own life on the line to protect their ladies, because that's what they do. But look how sweet you are. So this is Dude, our rooster, and you can learn all about him if you want to check him out. There's a story highlight on my Instagram at Baking with Chickens, and you can hear Dude's story, see what he was like at the shelter when we first got him. I hoped you liked that. Was that cute? Can you hear me back? Are we back? Yeah. Okay, so I hope you like that. That was Mr. Dude. He's very sweet. We're still, you know, what I also learned was that roosters in their first year, so when they're young, they're basically like adolescent teenagers and just full of hormones and ragey, and that's when they're kind of more aggressive and they like to fight. So he likes to fight our shoes, but a lot of people are saying, like, you know, that kind of goes away after the first year, after they chill and calm down. So that's Mr. Dude. He is totally awesome. We love him. There's so many rescue roosters that need homes that are given up. So if you have a space in your home, in your heart, in your yard for a rooster, I highly recommend it. Check out adoptabirdnetwork.com to see available roosters and chickens and ducks. There's even a peacock in Miami, Florida that's available for adoption. So check that out. Hey, all right, look at this. My tart crust is totally done. So I filled in the bottom, and I use my fingers to kind of smooth it. Like, I go like this, and I just kind of like smooth it around the sides, and like to help seal and make sure that like it's all pressed in nicely. I push in the side. If you're having a hard time getting it to be even on the top, you can also take a knife and go like this and just like slice it off. So if you can see it, get a little close-up cam, somewhere. So you go like this. So you can also slice it off like this if you're having a really hard time getting it smooth. It will shrink a little bit in the oven when you bake it, but that's okay. As long as you have it nice and even, it'll be all right. So here is a baking tip for you. All right. So when you are making these types of crusts, any pie crust, tart crusts, all that, so this has melted butter in it, right? If you put it into the oven just like this right now, the butter is still wet and soft, and it's going to seep out, it's going to run all over the place, and your pie dough, your tart dough, is going to slump. So the best thing to do is to put it in the freezer and freeze it so that the butter hardens before you put it into the oven. Oh, where's my fork? Okay. So I'm going to put this into the freezer, but before I do that, we're going to do something called docking. So pie and tart dough has water and moisture in it, and if you bake it, it's right, there's nowhere for it to escape, so it'll start making little bubbles. So you're going to take a fork and you're going to poke holes like this all the way in the bottom, and that's called docking. And you're just going to make these little holes so that steam can escape while baking. And I'm doing this now and not after freezing, because once you've frozen the dough, it's really, really hard to poke holes in it. So, all right, I'm going to pop this into the freezer for at least 15 minutes, or you can even make it overnight. You can make it ahead of time and you can do this overnight or next day. I have a few, like if you have extra dough, I just press them into little pie pans and use them later. Okay, I'm gonna wash my hands. So after you put it into the oven, let it freeze. If you're using it right away, at least 15 minutes, even longer if you can. And then you bake it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes or so until it's golden brown on the edges. If you're making this infused, a little preview for baked with chickens, you want to bake it at 340 degrees and increase the time that you bake it, because you bake it at 340 and a lower temp because you're going to burn off terpenes, which are the flavors of cannabis. So if you are making this infused, you're baking it, then you want to lower the temp to 340, increase that baking time to probably 30 minutes or so until it's golden brown. And check it out. Look, I have this pie tart thing that was just here in the oven, ready to go. Huh, magic of TV. Look at that. So, all right, so here I have Mr. Miles. All right, you're gonna have to wait, buddy. Or maybe Casey will let you out. All right, so I have this pre-made one here. It smells so good. Let me see. It smells like rosemary and vanilla bean, and it's buttery and soft and crispy, and it's so, so good. If you just want to make vanilla bean and rosemary shortbread cookies, that would be so good too. Just on their own like this with a little glaze. Check out my pressed flour shortbread cookie recipe and the episode before this for how to make that. So it'd be the exact same thing. You do the same thing, you put in the vanilla bean, you put in your rosemary, and you just cut out cookies instead of making a tart dough. But so easy. Okay, so
should we catch up on some comments?
Yeah, catch up on the comments while I grab things from the fridge.
So Chelsea says hairdo.
Hairdo. Dude. Hairdo.
So is it hair dude?
Hair dude?
Maybe. We've got two Dans here.
Two Dans.
Was that name chosen in part from the Big Lebowski? Dude's name.
I don't know. He came with that name, and we just thought it was fantastic, so we kept it. So how we found Dude was we were just thinking about it. I was looking online on adoptabirdnetwork.com, and I saw Dude, and we were like, Dude, we got to get Dude, because how could you resist a rooster who looks like Dude, named Dude? So we adopted him, we kept him, and the name just fit him so well that we decided to keep it. Pretty basic. All right.
You know who's here?
How about
Mary!
Hey, Mary. Nice
Mary
to see
Clark.
you. Let's do this. Let me get the curd started, and then we're going to catch up on some more comments, because otherwise I'm standing here doing nothing, and we got to get going, because this recipe has a lot of steps. Okay, so let's hold really quick. I want to come back to all of you, say hi, what's up, but I want to get this curd started so that we can get moving. And you don't have to stay here for 2 hours, because I'm trying to keep this to a 1 hour show, you guys. Okay, so basically I'm making a curd. If you've ever made lemon curd, same thing, I'm just using pineapple juice. This is very similar to the technique for the chocolate meringue pie. So instead of chocolate pudding, I'm making pineapple curd. It's honestly the same thing, except for instead of milk and cream, we're using a citrus juice. What's up, Mr. Baking with Chickens? What's with your face?
No.
Okay, you look pained.
I'm doing the chat.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So see, I've got pineapple juice here. Oh, very important fact about pineapples and pineapple juice as you are making this. So, pineapples contain an enzyme called bromelain, and bromelain is it breaks up the protein bonds and amino acids. So if you've ever tried baking with pineapple, it's problematic because this enzyme called bromelain will break up the protein bonds, and it'll cause dairies and milk to separate. It will cause gelatins and eggs and things to not gel. So we're making a curd, so that is problematic, right? Because eggs are a protein and we need it to gel and turn into a curd. So if you're making this recipe, make sure you get canned pineapple juice or any pasteurized pineapple juice. So we live in America, and everything that you can buy in a store is generally pasteurized within an inch of its life. Pasteurized means it's been heated to cook and kill off any bacteria. So I bought this juice from Trader Joe's, no big deal. It's already been pasteurized, so I'm not too concerned when you heat the pineapple juice. So if you were to just cut open this pineapple, squeeze out all the juice and use it in cooking, if you didn't heat it, it will cause a problem because that bromelain will break up all those protein bonds and it won't set. But if you use a pasteurized or canned, or all you have to do is boil it. So you just get your pineapple juice, boil it to neutralize that bromelain, and then you can use it no problem. So that's also why when you eat pineapple, if your tongue gets itchy and tingly, that's what it is. I mean, it's actually a really beneficial enzyme, and it has a lot of really good beneficial health properties, but in baking, that's where it causes a problem. So there's your nerdy pineapple fact for you. Okay, so for this custard, what you need to do, for this curd, it's basically sugar, cornstarch, so 1 cup of sugar, a 1/3 cup of cornstarch into the pan. There we go. We got salt, poof, and then a whole bunch of freaking eggs. So this is gonna use 2 whole eggs and 4 egg yolks. So I don't know if you guys can see this. How can you see this while I break this up? Okay, poof. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stir the dry ingredients together so that they're nice and even in the pan. And so this is a stovetop thing and you're whisking. I've definitely seen some curd recipes where you can use a blender. I don't do that just because to me this is easier and it's been okay every single time. So I'm gonna crack in 2 whole eggs and here we go. So 1 egg, 2 egg, ooh, that was a bad crack. And then, all right, so now egg yolks. So I need to separate these before I do them. And I like to save my egg whites because I can use them for all sorts of things. If I'm gonna decorate this tart in a unique, pretty way, but if you really like lemon meringue, this is basically just like a lemon meringue pie, tart, whatever you want. So you could save all of this egg white, whip up some meringue, put it on top, and toast it. That's one of my favorite ways. Very similar to my Seville orange marmalade pie that won the KSRW pie contest. You could do it that way. Or you can make macarons with these egg whites, if you remember my disastrous failed macaron episode. Or you can save these egg whites to use to make cute little meringue drops that I'm going to show you how to make to decorate the top of them. So the meringue drops are basically like little mini meringue cookies, like little kisses. And you only need 1 egg white to make those. And this is a whole lot, but I like to save them and I'll use them for something else. Or if you like egg white scrambles for breakfast, this is a really great way to use them and save them. Okay, so, all right, now my hands are messy and sticky. So we've got egg yolks, 4 egg yolks, 2 whole eggs, and now I'm gonna stir it together to get this nice and creamy. So my stove is not on yet. It is not hot. I am just mixing this together so it turns into a beautiful creamy paste. Check it out. Okay, and so you want to scrape all the way in the edges. See how like the sugar like is kind of hiding here in the corner? You want to get that sugar. And then, there we go. Got it. Okay, so you want to get all that sugar, cook it in. There we go, so that it's nice and smooth. And then we're gonna turn it on and we're gonna add all of the liquids, okay? So let's add the pineapple juice. So I have 2 cups of my pasteurized pineapple juice. Making a mess. A 1/2 cup of water. And then I'm also gonna add in, ooh, that's gross. I'm gonna add in lime juice. So if you've ever had a tropical drink at a tropical destination, you know that pineapple and lime juice are very good friends and they go together very well. So that's what we're gonna do. A little pineapple and lime juice. So I have one whole lime here. I'm gonna zest the lime first because I want to use the lime zest in the curd, but put it in at the end, because if you put it in now and cook it, it's not gonna look as pretty. It looks prettier when you add it in the end, and it brings out more of it. So I have this really cool, zester from Dees that I got on Amazon, and it's a very nice one. So I'm just gonna take this and save all of that delicious, yummy lime zest in a little bowl so that I can use it later. And if you really like lime flavor, you could totally add more. You could do zest from 2 limes if you really, really want, but I'm just gonna do 1 today because there's a lot going on. There's a strong pineapple flavor, and we've got rosemary, we've got vanilla. The lime just adds a little brightness to the pineapple because otherwise it's too sweet. Pineapple has like a very sweet floral taste. This curd has a, you can hear the cat doing something over there. Pineapple has a very strong sweet flavor, so adding in the lime juice just kind of brightens it up a little bit and gives it a tartness that is very nice, that I like very much. All right, so we're gonna do a live shit in my kitchen segment. All right, so for this live shit in my kitchen segment, we're gonna compare 2 things I'm gonna talk about. So I have this juicer that also Mr. Baking with Chickens came into this relationship with. So it's really great for juicing oranges, for orange juice, but I also have this hand-squeezed lemon one that I purchased. So Mr. Baking with Chickens had this before we met and came into the relationship with this. I purchased this because I was living at a place that had a ton of oranges and orange tree, and I wanted to make orange juice, but I don't like buying gadgets. So I bought this instead, and I don't know why. I just like manual things, but Mr. Baking with Chickens likes all these other things. So this is a Cuisinart juicer that you've had for how long? Probably another 15-year situation here?
Long, yeah.
Like,
I can't even remember.
and it works really great. So I actually really like this juicer if you've got a lot of oranges or you've got a lot of lemon juice or things that you really need. It's very handy because hand squeezing like 20 oranges to make yourself a little cup of juice is very taxing. But I love this little hand squeezy one for when I only need to press like 1 lemon thing. So you just stick it in, you press it, and boom, done. I tend to use this one a lot more than I use the juicer because I only really ever need like a couple lemons and limes. Also, did you know that, so a lot of time people put them in upside down like this and press it and go like this. That's one way to do it, or you can put it in like where it fits properly and it squeezes it. I don't really know which one's the correct way. I've read both, and I don't know, whatever, to me, whatever gets all of the juice out and doesn't waste anything is gonna be my best bet. And when I have something small like this, like I just kind of squish them together and I'll squeeze it again. So you can buy like, so this yellow one is sized for lemons, there's green ones that are sized for limes, but honestly, like it's the same thing, just buy one. My only criticism of this juicer squeezy thing is that it is, so it's colored yellow, but if you see like this yellow paint is starting to fleck off, like on the sides and in here. So I don't want any of this yellow paint in my stuff. So this is my biggest criticism of this. I think I forgot where I bought this. It was probably really cheap. So if you're gonna buy one of these hand ones, get a solid metal one that isn't painted, so you don't have to deal with these paint flecks. I did drop links for both this juicer and this hand squeezy thing in the description below if you want to check it out if you're in the market for a juicer. But you know, great for margaritas. You know, if you're doing one batch, the hand squeezy thing is good. If you're doing lots and you need big batches, this juicer is definitely very handy. Not sponsored by Cuisinart in any way, but that would be really awesome if Cuisinart would like to sponsor it. And this is another segment of Shit in My Kitchen. All right, so now I'm going to turn on the stove, and now this would be a really great time to catch up on some comments. So I'm going to put the stove at about medium temp. And so the important thing with curd is when you are cooking curd, you have to continue to whisk it the entire time because you don't want to cook the eggs. So if you remember when I did the Swiss meringue for the macarons, I didn't pay attention and I accidentally scrambled some eggs. So let me turn on my timer so I don't forget. Remember the egg timer from the Shit in My Kitchen segment? All right, so I'm going to put this on for about 8 minutes because that's how long it takes to cook, so I don't forget. You have to whisk the entire time. Don't get distracted. And I mean, my arm doesn't really hurt. I mean, a little bit of whisking just so things don't burn and cook on the side. So you're gonna watch, I'm gonna show you and you're gonna watch this liquid turn from this like foamy, very liquidy consistency, and it'll like turn into pudding right before your eyes and you'll see it. So right about at minute 4 is when you're gonna see and feel it turn from foamy water into a curd pudding. All right, now is a really great time to catch up on comments as we're standing here whisking, waiting for the 4 minutes to go by. Whew, thanks for sticking around, you guys. This was a breeze.
Oh, that's interesting. Well,
What's
Mary
interesting?
said, tell Casey, and he says hello.
Hi, Mary Clark.
Hey.
Casey has the best t-shirt in the entire world. Will you come and show them the t-shirt? Okay, so Casey, if you remember, our friend here, it's so tall, his head's cut off. But so he has a shirt that says, I baked you some shut the fuck up cakes. Fantastic. I need one of those.
Let's see. This is, let me double check the stream health to make sure that.
Oh, and my friend Andrea, who's on watching, Andrea has this cute little dog named Sugar, and I also have a cat named Sugar. So cute. How is Sugar doing, by the way? She's like a little papillon, which is like the little dogs with like the big feathery butterfly fluffy ears. You know, papillon is, I think, French for butterfly. Yeah. Papillon.
And Mary Clark says hi. I think we've got Mary and Lee tuning in.
Oh, hey Lee. Miss you, Lee. I really love that you guys come and hang with me and bake. I wish you could all be here in person and we could hang out, but this will do for now.
We should put a link. That's a good idea, Dan.
To the Shut the Fuck Cupcakes?
To the shirts.
Oh.
Where the site?
T-Public.
T-Public, like T-E-E?
T-E-E.
TEEpublic.com.
Gazillion shirts.
But like you could probably also Google like Shut the Fuck Cupcakes and you'll find it.
Tpublic.com?
Yeah. Other cat shirts too.
Casey also has this awesome shirt with a cat holding a bone and said, I find this humorous. Get it? Get it? No? A humerus is your bone? Okay. Oh man. Oh, and also, if you guys are really into chickens, so my friend Teddy from Therapy _chickens just released some t-shirts, and one says love with a little chicken on it. Very cute. You should support her. It's her kind of side biz. She also has edible flowers and other chicken art. If you like chicken, she'll do commissioned chicken portraits. But her shirt is very cute. I'm probably going to pick one up too.
This is a question from Mary/Lee. What's the temp for the burner?
Medium. So you want to put the temp on medium, and you got to keep on whisking. So because I've got eggs and liquid and cornstarch and sugar, we're trying to get them all to meld together, right? So remember what I said about pineapple juice is very acidic. And it has bromelain in it, which wants to break apart those amino acids and those proteins. So we're basically using cornstarch, eggs, and egg yolks to be the binder to make it thick and creamy. So you don't want to do it too hot, because if you do it too hot, you're going to burn all of the stuff on the side of your pan, and you're going to have chunky curd, and we don't want chunky curd. So I watched Christina Tozzi make, I think, a grapefruit curd on her bake club. So she, during quarantine, she was doing like a daily, I think, or a weekly bake club where she would make something, and she was making curd, and she said, when you're making curd, you're trying to convince liquids and sugars and eggs to all be friends and butter to all be friends, and you just got to keep on whisking. It's a lot like emulsifying if you've made a like a salad dressing, or if you made homemade mayo. We're emulsifying. We're trying to get all of these things to stick and stay together without breaking apart. So you'll see right now, if you can switch to the top down, this liquid, this is very foamy, right? So see how like it's just foamy liquid? And it's gonna start turning into a pudding momentarily. And it happens pretty quickly. Like you're gonna feel, you can feel it too. Like it's, as soon as it happens, you'll know. And the foam will start to subside, and it'll start turning like thick and runny. And if you're making homemade pudding, chocolate pudding, vanilla pudding, same thing, just with milk and cream instead of pineapple juice.
Is it about to happen?
No, not yet. I'll tell you. It's kind of thickening, but if you've got more comments to catch up on, now's a good time.
Dan says, that's borderline dad joke material.
Dad joke. Thanks, Dan. All right, here it is. Okay, so I feel it. You can feel it starting to thicken, right? Like, I don't know if you can see it, but like it's still foamy, and it's gonna start bubbling like lava. See this? So as soon as it starts bubbling, turn it down a tiny bit, and then keep going for another 3 minutes on the stove. So pineapple curd is different than lemon curd, where like lemon is very tart. Pineapple curd is, I don't know, it's just got this beautiful, flowery, floral taste. I also upped the pineapple flavor. So when I usually make a lemon or an orange curd, something that's really like my sour orange or the lemon, those are really sour flavors, right? But pineapple juice is already really sweet. So I cut down the sugar a bit, and also I increased the amount of juice. So there is 2 cups of pineapple juice and a ½ cup of water. Now, if you want a lighter pineapple flavor, you just change that consistency. So like it could be 1½ cups of pineapple juice to 1 cup of water, right? So you just need equivalent amounts of liquid, and you just kind of change it up to the flavor that you like. But the first time I made it, I used 1 cup of water and 1½ cups of pineapple juice, and I felt that the pineapple flavor was too light. I wanted it stronger, so that's why I bumped it up. All right, so you see this is turning into a nice, beautiful pudding. So the reason why that even though this is thickened, I'm gonna continue to cook it is because we're gonna continue to let it bubble and cook to cook off those egg proteins in your curd. And it'll help get it to thicken and solidify. Ugh. Okay. So my arm is hurting, but this is curd. And then the cool thing about curd is once you make it, you can put it into little jars, airtight jars, seal it, and pop it in the fridge, and they'll keep for like up to 4 weeks, and you can use it in all sorts of things. Look good in pavlovas, just spread it on some toast. Ooh, look at that. Okay. Look at that egg timer. All done. All right, so once this is done, we're gonna take it off the heat. Let me push this aside. I'm gonna take it off the heat, and now we continue to whisk for another 5 minutes. Hey, Dustin, did we have something planned for this? I can't remember.
Well, let's see. We did our food factoid.
We did.
We did about dude. And yeah, I mean.
Okay, cool. We're done.
I mean, just short of maybe doing a little dance or something.
Doing a little dance? Do a little dance. Do, do, do. So basically, you're just going to whisk this for like another 5 minutes. Like, my arm kind of hurts. Keep whisking. This is why, okay, so the next step after this is you're going to put in cold butter and the lime zest. So cold butter is helpful because it will help cool down the curd. So you want to keep whisking this so it doesn't continue to cook because your pan is going to be hot. So you can definitely transfer it, but you do want it to continue cooking for a little bit, but you don't want it to burn. And you know, I've made curds so many times and I often forget to put in the butter. So in that chocolate meringue pie episode, I totally forgot to put in the butter and it happens. And you know what? It's okay. It still totally works. I think the butter just adds like a extra fat and creaminess to it. I forgot and it's never affected my pies or the curd in the way that I want. But if we want to, why not? So I have this handy little butter dish here. Hey, look, we're gonna have a bonus shit in my kitchen. So I did not plan for this, but it was so cute, I can't help myself. So I have a little whale butter dish that I like so, so much because, you know, butter, we eat a lot of butter because we eat bread and Mr. Bacon Chickens makes bread. But this little whale dish is my favorite butter dish of all time, and I'll show you why. We had another butter one, and it came from Amazon, and it wasn't as good because it was kind of unwieldy and it would fall apart. So this little tail here is a knife. You can like rest your knife on it like that. And it has this little handle you can stick your hands in to lift up. And the coolest part is it has these little lines that tell you how many tablespoons. So if you put a whole stick of butter in here, those little lines tell you how many tablespoons there are. So especially when baking, I need to know how many tablespoons of butter I need. And if I only need like a tablespoon or two, I'll just grab the butter dish and pull it out. So here, I've got a chunk here. Boop. I'm gonna drop it in. And then I'm just gonna whisk that butter in as it melts and continue to whisk it along. And it'll melt in here. This wasn't really cold because I had it set out, but it will be okay. And then we also have this super cute, where is it? Can you see it back here? This little whale sponge holder. So it matches our little butter dish, but this is for our sponge for when we wash our dishes. We put the sponge inside the little whale mouth and it holds it. So we got a theme going on in the kitchen. Both of them are Amazon. Just search like whale. I don't have a link yet. Maybe Mr. Baking with Chickens can find it, or I can add it later. But it's a little whale butter dish and the soap holder from Amazon. Okay, so this is looking really good. So once it's kind of cooled a bit and not as hot, you're gonna add the lime zest. So again, like I said, if you add the lime zest at the beginning while it's cooking and too hot, it's just gonna get really yucky and it's not gonna look as pretty. The fun and the pretty part about this pineapple curd is that it has these pretty flecks of green in the curd. So give me a top down. Okay, give me a sec. There we go. Okay, so you just go like this, add in the flecks. There you go. So, there you go. So now you can see like it looks really pretty. It's gonna taste really pretty. It's gonna have all of those nice oils from your lime zest in your pineapple curd that adds a nice tartness. Okay, so this is looking really good. And now I'm gonna pour it into my crust. So you could, like, there's a few ways you could do this. If you're making this ahead of time, you could absolutely put this into a bowl, separate into another bowl, and is that good? And put it in the fridge and let it cool. And then you could just make it ahead of time, and you just need to stir it up to get it nice and smooth before you put it in your tart or your pie pan. But if you're putting in hot curd in the city. All right, if you're putting in hot curd, it's gonna make your top nice and smooth. So I'm a huge fan. Let's see if I can do this without making a mess. You basically just pour it in. Look at that, pretty-ish. there's gonna be a lot of curd left over. That's just the nature of this, and the reason why is because honestly, it sort of depends on what size tart pan you have. Like this rectangular one is smaller and it has a lot less. If you're using an 11-inch round, you're gonna have a lot more. It just sort of depends. Okay. Look at that. Okay, I'm gonna put this aside over here. There you go. Look at that. So I'm gonna use this to kind of scrape it and make it nice and smooth. Hi, Miles. And then we're just gonna let that cool. That's it. So this just needs to cool completely before you decorate it so you don't melt anything. I would let it, this is still hot, so I would let it probably chill and sit out at room temp for a bit, and then I would store it in the fridge before using it. All right, let's taste it. It's so good. Okay, so let me set this one aside so I don't mess up. And hey, look, by the magic of TV, there's one already pre-made and cooled over here. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, check this out. I have one already made. Okay, where's this? How's everybody doing today? I hope you're okay and following along. I know I am racing through this recipe and not paying attention and giving you all some love, but I'm very grateful for you all.
JB, hi from Brazil. Made many curds, but never from pineapple.
Hey JB, welcome from Brazil. I've never been to Brazil. I would love to visit.
I wonder if it has the same curd tradition like the pastel de nata in Portugal.
Like the egg tart? Oh, maybe, but that's it's an egg custard. Yeah, maybe. I've never made a pastel de nata. I have for sure eaten many, many pastel de nata, but I think it's the same idea. It's like an egg custard type situation. Okay.
Yeah, let us know, JB, if curds are a popular thing in Brazil, or is it something you're just into?
Yeah. And I haven't seen a lot of pineapple curds either. This was just an idea because I wanted something that wasn't lemon, and pineapple just seemed like a really fun idea. I also have these fun little copper pineapple little drink things that I borrowed from my friends for something, but they seem kind of perfect. So did you know that pineapples are a symbol of hospitality? Isn't that cool? So that's why you see like a lot of like hotels or whatever it is, they'll have pineapples on them because pineapples are a symbol of hospitality. But I love these copper mugs. They're really cool. I'm going to have to return them to my friend, but I thought they were appropriate for today's episode. Okay, so I have this ugly Ziploc thing, but oof. So I pre-made these meringues, and I will show you how I made them in a second. But I pre-made these because these take a few hours to make, and I didn't want to make you sit here and watch me pipe meringues. So, Mr. Bacon Chickens, let's show the people how we make these beautiful little meringue drops. So you start off and you get one egg white, throw it in your stand mixer and start whipping it. Add some cream of tartar and sugar. So cream of tartar is an acid, it's a tartrite. By adding it into your egg whites, it will help stabilize it and hold those protein bonds together. And then this is a French style of meringue. So you see I'm adding super fine sugar a little bit at a time to whisk it, a little bit of lemon extract to give it flavor. Whip it until you get stiff peaks. So how you know that you have stiff peaks is not that, that's a soft peak. So see how it's falling over? You want stiff peaks so that when you flip it over, it doesn't fall and those little peaks stick straight up. And to make the rainbow meringue, I'm using gel food coloring. So I laid out a piece of plastic wrap and then I'm using a little toothpick thing to spread the gel food coloring in little lines along that plastic wrap. And then I'm going to take that meringue and plop it right in the middle. So I'm going to make like a little line of meringue on top of that gel food coloring. And then you're going to take that plastic wrap and basically make a little sausage tube. Yep, just like that. And then you're going to roll it and pinch it at the edges and take that, stick it inside of your piping bag all the way through and pull that pointy end through the bottom. I'm using a coupler because I want to change out the tips, and that's what's going to make these pretty little designs. So pull that plastic wrap out the other end, snip off, and then just pipe. So the first one will probably be more white, and then as you keep going, you're going to start seeing these rainbow colors come out. The tip I have for piping is you kind of got to do a little flourish at the end to get that pointy end, and then you can make all different shapes. So I use 3 different tips to make different shapes. I have drops, I have stars, I have the one that looks like a little, I don't even know what it's called, like the one with the little lines. I wish I knew what these Wilton tip numbers are, but I am not that sophisticated. I just grab the one that I look at. So these are little rainbow meringue drops. So once you have them on your baking sheet, pop them into the oven. So I preheated my oven at 350 degrees, and then I put them in and then immediately turn the oven off and leave it in there for at least 2 hours. So the reason why is meringues bake at a heat because you are basically sucking out all of the moisture from the egg whites, and the sugars are bonded to the egg proteins, and that crystalline structure is what's going to give you those meringue drops. So you're going to want, if you take them out of an oven when it's too hot, the meringue will crack. So just like a pavlova, check out my pavlova episode, same tip. And there's an all about meringue episode as well if you want to learn more about this. So that high heat and then slowly tapering to low heat is going to give you beautiful meringues that don't crack. So the result is these little beautiful things. So I stored them in here because I needed to get them out of the air. Humidity makes them sticky. They're already a little bit sticky. So I have these little silicate packets. Oops, see, they're kind of sticking to my finger to help absorb some of the moisture. So don't make meringues on hot, humid days. It's not going to be good. I probably should have put these away. You can store these in an airtight container in the fridge for quite a while. I have some that I made back in September that are still hanging out in the fridge and doing really well. But you see how pretty these are. Like, they're just like little carnival colors, and you can see how like these rainbow of colors look really pretty. So you can make plain ones, but that's how you make rainbow meringues. All right, so on to decorating this beautiful, gorgeous piece of tart. So my tart is chilled. It's nice and cool. The pineapple is good. Now I'm just going to throw on fruit, edible flowers, and these little meringue drops. So what I like to do is, I mean, there's no right or wrong, right? Like, I just grab some fruit and start sticking her on, fill it up. And it's whatever you want, however you want to decorate these is all good. I like strawberries and raspberries, and I have some pineapples here. You can kind of do whatever you got, some herbs. Mint is always pretty. Because, you know, a cannabis infused one, I always like to put a little cannabis leaf if I'm making an infused dessert. So it's like a little visual nod so that people know that it's infused if they're eating it. Obviously, the one that I made today is not infused because I can't have this many infused treats around because we get too high eating them all. So I'm just taking these, I'm just kind of randomly stuffing them kind of wherever, all over. And then, let me dry my hands. So meringues, if you touch them with wet hands, they will stick, and that is not good. So you want to use something dry. You see chefs using tweezers. Let me push this forward. So with the tweezers, so I like to use chopsticks because that's just natural and easy for me so that I don't have to touch them. But I then just take these little rainbow meringue drops and stick them all over. So they're a little sticky. You know, different sizes, different shapes. I have some bigger ones. I have some smaller ones. They just look really cute and whimsical. And that's pretty much it. So big ones, small ones, whatever size ones that you would like. Stick them all over. I like these little meringue crunchies because they add texture to this dessert. It's going to have the cookie crunch base on the bottom. It's going to be a little salty, a little savory, and then you've got the sweetness of the pineapple curd. And then with these little meringue crunchies, they just kind of add a little sweet crunchiness. If you are making this to serve, I recommend putting the meringue drops on at the very end right before serving. And the reason why is because, again, this is like, it's wet, right? Your thing is wet. And so if you put on the meringue and you store it in the fridge, it will get soft and they won't stay as crunchy. So you can store your meringue drops just like I did in a little container. I line them with parchment so that they don't stick together. But I have another set, again, like I said, are totally fine. These were a bit sticky because I waited too long. But yeah, all right, any questions? I'm doing a lot of talking, not a lot of listening and saying hi to you guys, but Mr. Bacon Chickens, you want to check in with everybody?
Yeah, we've got some stuff to catch up on.
All right, what kind of questions you guys got while you watch me sit here and make
So JB
this.
From Brazil, I accidentally found a way to make the silkiest curds ever.
Oh.
I add the cold butter, asked for by the recipe, in the end.
Yes.
And after melting, I use an immersion blender
Yes.
to finish the emulsion.
Absolutely, that is a great tip. So if you're making curd and like maybe you're not whisking as nicely or you're not paying attention and you might have like chunky curd, using an immersion blender, as JB mentioned, is a great way to just make it smooth and creamy. I did not do that because I don't know, I've never really had a problem. All my curd is always end up really smooth and beautiful and perfect. But the immersion blender or Christina Tozzi's, just, you don't even need an immersion blender. Just take that whole batch, put it into a regular blender and whip it up. That also really works very well. So there's really no mistakes. If you've got kind of like a chunky curd, throw it in, blend it, and boom, you're done. Okay, let me see. Ooh, look I have more colors here on the bottom. This one wants to stick. So I made the mistake of letting these sit out overnight and not putting them in a container. I would highly, highly recommend as soon as they're baked, they're cooled, stick them and store them somewhere dry so that you can use them. But aren't these pretty? These are so, so pretty. So you'll see I have just round drops I used with a round tip. These are a little star tip with these. And then you can make different shapes too. Like there's ones that look like unicorn poops here on the bottom. Here, let me get you a unicorn poop one. Here's a unicorn poop. There's one.
Catching up on comments. In terms of so we've got a message from Dan. So it's Dan and Sandy. Said Sandy's curd is about 5 minutes behind you.
Ah.
Nice.
Oh, you guys get to eat it. Lucky you.
Dan and Sandy say Wilton number 199 for pointed dots.
Thank you. Wilton 198. I do not have Wilton tips. I have cheap ones unlabeled from China because I wasn't sure how much piping I would do, because I don't know, it's not my favorite thing to do, but I've gotten a lot better at it. And that's the thing with baking, right? Like you're gonna start off and you're gonna do something and you're not gonna be that good at it and it's gonna look real ugly, and that's okay. Miles, goodness gracious dog. And it's, that's gonna be okay, because the more you do it, the more you practice, the better you get. I wish you guys could see some of these hideous cakes that I made at the very beginning. They just are not pretty. But you know what? Now I'm in a competition. So keep at it, keep going. All right, so I've got quite a lot of little meringues on here. You can put as many or as little as you want, honestly. It's just, to me, it's just cute and pretty, and that's why. The more you have, the prettier they are. It kind of fills up, but here we go. All right, so now I have these. I'm gonna put on some of my pineapples, because what's a pineapple tart without pineapples? So I just bought these ones pre-sliced from Trader Joe's because I was too lazy to cut this one up. And I just cut them really thin, so you can see they're just thin little bits. And I'm just gonna tuck them here into the tart between the meringues so that they stick up and they look really nice. There we go. And then if I were serving these, I would probably cut them in diagonals so that it'd probably be either 6 or 4 servings, depending on how big you want to make them. But you see, I have no really rhyme or reason. I'm sure there's prettier ways to do this, but I just like to do what I feel. Whatever the tart tells me how to decorate it. I don't tell the tart. You have to be one with it and listen for what it has to say. Hi, Miles.
Michelle is here.
Hi,
It says, "Hi,
Michelle.
Christina. Sorry I'm late. This looks awesome."
No worries. Michelle, you're
And-
getting a preview of what I'm making for the Elevated 8 competition.
And then JB says the fluted tart crust looks beautiful
Oh.
and delicious.
Thank you, JB. I'm so happy you joined, you guys. Look at this. And then just a reminder, if you're just joining right now, this is a kind of a little preview of Baked with Chickens, which is the culinary cannabis making your own edibles version of this show. So we're gonna kick off our very first Baked with Chickens on 4/20. So no new episode next Sunday, but we will launch our Baked with Chickens on Tuesday, 4/20, but then we're gonna move that to a different date. So TBD, we're figuring it out as we go, but we'll still continue to do, you know, like with all my recipes, I don't like to make it either infused or not infused. Quite honestly, like I think anything can be infused. So I write my recipes non-infused, and then I'm gonna start adding a little paragraph to explain, like, if you would like to infuse this, how would you do it? Because, you know, it shouldn't be either or. You can do it one way or the other, and I get it, right? Like, maybe you wanna eat this and it looks really delicious, but you don't want it infused. Or if you're really into making beautiful infused dishes and you want to learn how to bake with cannabis, you can. And honestly, it's pretty easy. It's not that hard to do. But I will talk about in Baked with Chickens, which is going to be on this exact same YouTube channel. It's just a different playlist, that we're going to talk about how to bake with cannabis, how to infuse, what are all of the different things that you can do, how to dose, different flavors. So so when I made the infused version of this for Elevated Jane, I used a pineapple OG. So pineapple OG is a particular strain of cannabis that smells and tastes like pineapples. Isn't that freaking cool? So cannabis has terpenes that have flavors, right? It can smell like garlic, it smells like pineapple, like mint, whatever. So I like to bake and cook with cannabis using their natural flavors as inspiration and for pairing. So if you are making this infused and you know how and you're experienced and you would like to try infusing your own can of butter for the crust and into the curd, I would recommend using a strain that is that smells like pineapples, or even lime. If you can't find a pineapple one, like a strain that smells like lime would also be very, very delicious in this, because it does have those notes of lime. So I'm kind of like being picky now with like all my little things here. But look, that's pretty much it, you guys. And here is my beautiful, sorry, I can't see. Okay, here you go. There you go. This is my tart. It's a pineapple curd tart with Rainbow Meringue Drops. So voila. So if I were cutting this, I'm not going to cut, actually I could cut it, I guess. I would cut it, you could cut it straight. That's one way to do it. If I wanted to be arty about it, would do it diagonal. So I would cut it diagonally this way, and then this way. Like, so I'd go like this, like this, like that, and that would make you a beautiful tart. So this is another episode of Baking with Chickens. Thanks for joining this beautiful, wonderful Sunday. I'm going to have Mr. Baking Chickens check for any last comments, questions that I can answer before we sign off.
I think you already answered Michelle's question. Is what you're going to enter into the Elevated 8 competition.
Oh, yes, and I'm wearing my shark dress because shark dress, ooh ha ha.
Oh. Dan says, love seeing Miles' reflection in the oven door. Oh. JB says kids will love it also, I'm sure.
Absolutely. But do not make the infused version for the kids. Non-infused, just plain. But yeah, these little meringue cookies would be really cute for kids' birthday parties.
We've got, Michelle says, gorgeous. Dan says, beautiful tart. That curd is so good. Dan also says, bravo, nice work, Mr. and Mrs. Baking with Chickens. And you too, Casey. We've got
Good job, Casey.
2 Dans, I think.
2 Dans. Oh, should we taste it?
Well,
Okay.
yeah.
Twist our arms.
Taste it.
Oh, and Mary Clark says, so lovely. Crust looks particularly perfect.
Okay, we shall taste this beautiful, delicious concoction. And it's so pretty. It's so pretty. I'm going to have such a hard time, like, breaking into this.
So worth it?
It's so worth it. Okay, I'm going to lift this out. Okay. let's move that onto a proper cutting board. All right, so here is how I would cut it if I were to cut it with my pineapple right in the way. Okay, come on. Okay. There we go. So cut it like this. Cut it like this. You know, this is so good. I've eaten like bowls of curd from decorating and doing stuff, but I haven't actually eaten it with the whole thing all together. So I'm so excited. Okay, look at this.
Oh, shit.
Boom. Casey, are you excited to eat this?
Very, very, very excited.
Casey's here helping us with camera, but he's really here just to eat. I'm gonna be.
Oh, you want to turn that so we can see the edge of the tart? Can we see that? No.
Turn which way? What's happening?
That was good. Keep going.
Here.
There you go. Perfect.
There you go.
There you go.
Sorry.
Casey. Okay. I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna hand Casey and Mr. Baking with Chickens a piece as a payment for their hard work.
Oh,
I mean, man, nobody's way to come here faster. All right, are you ready for this beautiful tart? Okay, so we want to make sure we get a piece of the meringue and the crust and the curd all at the same time. The flowers don't really have a flavor, they just look really pretty. Okay, ready? Casey, what do you think?
fantastic.
What does it taste like? Tell me what you think.
Put some more in my mouth.
Oh,
Banana. So weird.
It's tropical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It must be similar to, and definitely pineapple.
It's so good. Okay, so it's got this floral sweetness of the pineapple. You get a little hint of that lime that just brightens the whole thing up. And then if you look in the crust, it's got that rosemary and vanilla. Again, rosemary and vanilla flavors pair extremely well with pineapple. I put raw pineapple on top, but if you have a pineapple that isn't that sweet, what I would do is cook it. So just like the whole tip about bromelain and whatever and the enzymes, right? If you cook just pineapple fruit, it will give it a sweeter flavor. What I would do if I was getting real fancy is I would flambe the pineapple pieces in some cognac or rum with vanilla and rosemary sugar. If I were to get real fancy, because this isn't fancy enough, but that's how I would do it, and that's what I would do. So, all right, everybody.
Oh, we got to catch up on a few comments.
Okay.
Mary asked, will you have a recipe list for next week?
I don't know what I'm making yet, but we will. Yes, so Mary, next Sunday, we will not have an episode, but we are going to do our very first Baked with Chickens, cannabis-infused episode, kicking off on 4/20, which is a Tuesday. So we'll probably do a Tuesday night at 9 o'clock Pacific in honor of 4/20 for Baked with Chickens.
Or 8. We're going to figure out Pacific Standard Time versus East Coast.
So TBD, if you please subscribe to this YouTube channel and you'll get notifications when we do our next lives. Our goal is eventually we're going to get to a point where we can schedule these out so you know what I'm making ahead of time. But right now we're kind of working on the fly here and making things up the week of. So
yeah, but we usually, on Thursday, we post the scheduled episode and then the link to the recipe on the blog. And you'll have the ingredients and all that. We're going to get ahead of that. I mean, I think the next thing we're going to do is salted honey pie, right?
Yeah, that's a good one.
So, yeah, we'll do a salted honey pie and put that up.
Yep. So the recipes for all of these are always on my site, bakingwithchickens.com. If you're looking at anything and you have a question, please drop me an email, shoot me a note. You can comment on this video. We see it all. I'm happy to answer your questions. If you see a recipe that I don't have instructions for how to infuse and you want to do that, let me know. I'll tell you how.
JB says, I made the lemon crinkle cookies off your channel and people loved them.
Yeah, those are good, right?
I did get a very humid dough, even after leaving it in the fridge for some hours.
You know what I learned about the lemon crinkle cookies? So, because that was somebody else's recipe that I did. It was through Beach House Kitchen. And her lemon cookies are so, so good. So I don't know if you're measuring in grams or if you're scooping. Because this is what I've learned with some recipes is because in the US, we use cups and measures and we scoop and we tend to not weigh things. And when I'm converting a recipe, sometimes I'll make a cookie based on grams. Like 1 cup of flour is technically supposed to be 120 grams. That's accurate, but it's usually less than what I scoop in a cup. So depending on the recipe. So if you got a wet dough, it might have needed a little bit more flour depending on how you weighed it, whether cups or grams.
Okay. And then, oh, and JD says, I'll try this one the next time I buy a pineapple.
But remember, if you buy a pineapple and you use the juice from a pineapple, you have to boil it. You have to cook it and heat it to cook off the bromelain before you use it in the curd. Because if you just use a raw pineapple juice that hasn't been heated or boiled, the enzyme is going to prevent it from turning into this, like, to thicken into that curd. So you can totally, next time you buy a pineapple, use the juice, but boil it first and then cool it and then use it in your recipe, okay?
Dan says, OMG, stop, my stomach is growling. And Michelle says, rosemary and vanilla? Wow.
Yeah. Rosemary and vanilla. One day, Michelle, I'm going to come visit you, and I'm going to make this for you, and you can taste it. But it is so good, you guys. This is, I like to call it, this is like a lemon meringue pie went on a tropical vacation, and it's drinking one of those fancy tropical drinks with lots of fruit on top. All right, so on that note, happy Sunday, everybody. Thank you for joining another live episode of Baking with Chickens. You guys are amazing and wonderful, and bok bok bake. Have a wonderful weekend, you guys.
We'll see you April 25th.
April 25th.
For the next episode.
April 20th, 420. Baked
and
chickens.
April 20th.
All right. Bye.